All right. Welcome back from that short break, and let's wrap this up. Um, Still on an indicator, and I have established a base on what we do on indicator from stochastic and the RSI. And explaining stochastic and RSI, I don't expect you to grasp just right away, but I expect you to go back to your chart after this section and then look at this over and over again. To be honest with you rather, what we do here is just showing you the path, the pathway. You have over 80% work to do on your own. The mastery depends on you. Okay, we show you the path, and you go back on your chart and you look at it, and you develop an eye, or should I call it familiarity with the chart. Remember that you have to, should I say, align your emotions, build your psychology and your feelings with the chart. That's what helps more than just talking all about it. The explanation I gave above the 80 area is also applies to the below 20 area for the stochastic. So you want to make sure that there's the cross down, the cross down, and then a cross up. All right. So the stochastic should cross down above it, below it, and then cross up. That's where I can confirm or add that as a confirmation. So it also applies for both area. So once we get started on this particular indicator, you learn how to customize it, how to configure it to suit your type and your kind of trader. All right. So this is a momentum indicator. We already talked about those, and I also explained the that's the Ivan Cabra binary strategy. So how I configure my indicator, let's go over that now. How I configure my indicator. I know, I believe everyone at this fix has their chart popped up and have their indicator we mentioned displaying on their chart. So how you configure your indicator is quite simple. You go to settings. If you're using your smartphone, you just draw your hand to areas around that indicator, It pops out icons like this. You click the setting icon, all right? And you customize every damn thing from style, input. Your input should be K must be set to 3, D set to 3, RSI length set to 6, stochastic length set to 6. That's for the stochastic RSI. For the stochastic RSI. K set to 3, D set to 3.
Good morning.
RSI length set to 6, stochastic length set to 6. RSI source should remain closed, and you click OK. For the style, this is how to configure your indicator to suit the binary style of trading. For the style, you have K. Okay, for this particular style, this has to do with how you want it. It has to do with your kind of person. What color do you want? It's just peculiar to how you want to do it. You can do it in any way, all right? But you must make sure that your K is it's set to line and all of this and all of this. Then the upper band, I want to talk about the upper band very quick. The upper band must be set to 20. The upper band I mean is this. The upper band. This is the upper band. Look at my cursor. This is the upper band. It must be set to what? To 80 for the stochastic RSI. The upper band must be set to 80. The middle band, 50. This is the middle band. Okay. Must be set to 50. And then the lower band must be set to 20. This is the lower band. This is the lower band. All right. So customizing it, I use red and a thick line. You click on this. Do not use a dash line. Rather, you use a line, a straight line. That's why I have my line here. If I imagine that this is a dash, you see, it switches to dash. Or let's say we made this a dotted line. It's going to be a dotted line. But you just want to keep your chart clean. Use a line. Then for the line, you want to make sure that the line is thick enough. Look at this. If I use this, it's going to be faint. So I won't see exactly where price crosses above it or gets. So you want to use a thick line for it. This line is fair for it, all right? Or you could make it even thicker. Okay? So you want to use a line and a thick line at that. All right, so for the color preference, like I mentioned, is dependent on you. All you do is just click on the color and have your color selected. For me, I use red. Okay, that's for the upper band. For the middle band, it must be set to 50, like I mentioned before. And this is the middle band. So you must use a line instead of a dashed line. If I were using a dash, look at what we're having for that area. If we're using a dash, what we're having on that. So you want to make sure you're using a line. If we're using a dotted line, we're having across. You want to make sure you're using a dotted line to verify, to know when that cross has happened. So for the color, you want to use anything you feel like. You can just come to color, click on color, and then use whatever you want to use. Okay, all right. It depends on you and what you want to put there. It doesn't matter so much. For the lower band, this is the lower band. This is the lower band. It must be set to 20. You want to be taking note of all of this. It must be set to 20. You also want to use a line. If you're using a dotted line or a dash, this is what you have. And you might be mistaken when it crosses below and when it's crossing above. So you want to use a line to make sure that that is in place. And for me, I use a blue color. I color my blue, all right? Okay, to avoid. So you can make yours any color you feel like. It is not a mandate. It's not mandatory that you must use blue. Most times your background is checked. So I don't like my background check. I always like my charts as clean as possible. So I always make sure that my background, I uncheck it. So if you're setting this indicator for the first time, on default, your background will be checked just like this. So you want to just make sure it's unchecked and you have a clear background. Okay, that is for the style on stochastic RSI. Visibility, don't do anything here. Don't do anything here. Leave visibility is okay. So what you're working at is on input. You want to make sure K set to 3, D set to 3, RSI length set to 6, stochastic set to 6. That is 3366. That's a certain format. And you click OK. That is for stochastic RSI setting. I believe it's clear. Now, for the RSI setting alone, like I mentioned, you still drag your cursor or drag or point your finger close to an indicator and icons will pop out. You click on the setting icon and configure it. For RSI alone, RSI length set to 14. The reason is because we want to make RSI a bit slower or slow than the stochastic RSI. Remember that while configuring your stochastic RSI, your length was set to 6. But now RSI length for RSI alone is set to 14. All right. The both indicator are momentum indicator, and they represent momentums in the markets, and they record momentum and they spend for you. But you want one to be faster and the other to be slower to align with time. So you want to make sure that RSI length is set to 14. That's majorly what you're doing here. MA length is already at 14. BB STD should be at 2. If it's not at 2 on your default setting, most of the times it should be on default. But if it's not on default, you want to make sure that BB STD that is STD DEV is set to 2. MA type should set to be at SMA, not Bollinger Band. SMA. If you're having Bollinger Band, look at what you have. You have stuff like this. You have Bollinger Band here, another chart up, and this is not clear for me. It's not direct. So you want to have it set at SMA, just that. Okay. The source has always been closed. Remember, source is closed from your stochastic RSI. So leave source closed on RSI too. Style. I mentioned style on stochastic RSI. Let's go over on style again. Style is talking about your preference, your how you want your chart to look like, your preferential view, your preferential display of your stochastic, of your RSI now. We've talked about stochastic. So for the RSI, this is the RSI, the small line. You see this line? This is the RSI. So if you want to make your RSI white, it's left for you. You want to make it white, is cool. You want to make it green, it's okay. You want to make it gold, you want to make it any color, yellow, all right, blue, it's okay. Whichever color you want to make your RSI, it is okay. I think I want to make mine now white, so I decided to make it white. Your RSI should always be like this, in form of line. Don't go and make your RSI histogram or cross. You will not understand it. Or imagine somebody making his RSI a line. God. Take for instance, you're making your RSI, let's say, a histogram. What is this? Do you understand any of this? Does it make sense to you as a trader? It might make sense, but to our style of trading, it doesn't. So you want to make sure that RSI is displaying as a line. It's very important. Then RSI base MA. RSI base MA is this line here. Remember, we also have MA at the Ivan Cabra. This is MA, all right? Okay, so RSI MA is just this yellow line across the white. Remember, there are two lines displaying here. Red line across the line is just the RSI MA. So you want to make that color any color you feel like. It's not mandatory. You must make it yellow. You can decide to make it blue. You can decide to make it green. You can decide to make it whatever you want to make it. It all depends on you. I think I should go with blue. Okay, let me check if this is going to be nice. Let me keep this as it is. All right, so that's for that. Okay, so the next is upper band, upper Bollinger Band. The upper Bollinger Band. This is the upper Bollinger Band. Okay, this is the upper Bollinger Band. So you want to make that whichever color you feel like is fine for you, and have that stripped out. Excuse me. Back to setting, and then upper Bollinger Band. We'll have it in form of it should be in form of lines, and then lower Bollinger Band should also be in form of lines. So we have the RSI upper band. RSI, which is this, right? RSI upper band, which is this, and you want to set it to 70. and make sure your upper band is set to 70. It's very important you do that. And whichever color you're using is not mandatory. It's just your choice. I decided to use red. But you must make sure the line is not in a dashed line or dotted line. Imagine when you're having like this. So you want to make sure that the line is a raw line and tick at that. So for the RSI lower or middle band, this is the middle band. I'm gonna set it to 50. I'm gonna set that to 50 and still follow the same procedures I've mentioned above to get in that. And then the RSI lower band is this below, and you want to set it to 30. It should be at 30. Make sure that your RSI background field is unchecked and your Bollinger Band background field is unchecked. It's very important. And then you click OK, and it's saved and it's customized. Like I mentioned, before you start applying any of these settings on your chart, you want to make sure first to sign in, to synchronize your chart to an email. You want to log into your chart, to your email. So whatever setting you're doing on your chart remains on your chart, no matter what happens, is always there. You want to make sure of that. Okay, so that is just that for indicator, and we're done with this section. Next, we'll be having another concept to talk about. Go through this video with, and my DM is always open for questioning in case you are confused in any way. I'm still here to explain to you guys. That'll be all. That'll be all for now. Have a nice day ahead. Bye for now.